Hi everyone. I have another little slow stitch kit in my Etsy store that I wanted to share with you guys. This time it's Christmas themed, and this kit has a piece of white felt and then 4 different Christmas colored fabrics and some floss and one of those big pins. You might remember I showed you how you could make some cute little embellishments with a big safety pin. I will try and remember to link that video up here in the corner so that you can refer to that if you missed it. Then there's also some pretty little ribbons and trims, and this is a little pom-pom. And then I've got a little tiny bag full of little itty-bitty things that you can decorate whatever you create. There's a little tiny bow and beads, a little ornament hook, and some sequins. So I thought those would just be fun little additional bits that you could add on to whatever you're creating. Now this kit also is going to come with a pattern like I showed you before when I did my patchwork bird. And so this pattern includes a little beanie, a heart, a star, and a tree. So that will be in this kit. And I wanted to show you, I had done a little tree similar to this one when I made my Christmas journal last year, and I did it for a Christmas card. This is what my Christmas card looked like, and this is nothing more than fabric strips laid across the little tree shape. And then I did some machine stitching last year, machine stitched all the way around, and then I glued these bits on and attached that to a card. Now the backing on this one was a piece of canvas, and I actually made it, the people that I gave this to, I made it so that they could remove it. It's just got a little glue dot on the card here, so that could be removed and made into a little ornament. So I thought that was a lot of fun. So there's canvas on the back of this one, and I decided to go ahead and keep one to put in my journal because I loved it so much. I loved how it turned out. I loved the bright colors of it, all of that. So I decided to use that same tree shape this year to make these little slow stitch ornaments. So I thought I would make a little tree today, and if there's time I might make one more of these little items. And I was going to say that if you decide to make these as ornaments to hang on a tree, you might want to use some of your fabric pieces as a backing after you're done stitching, just to cover up the back side of the stitching. And so I thought I would do that, and I'm going to use this piece of red as my backing. So I'm going to use the trick that I showed you the last time when I was doing the patchwork bird, and I'm going to use the freezer paper, and I've already traced out my tree. Okay, this is my tree here, and I traced it. You can see right through the freezer paper very easily. So I traced my tree, and I'm going to put it on this fabric. Just try to, save back as much of the fabric as I can, not put this right smack in the middle, but kind of put it along an edge. And just want to iron that down because the freezer paper will adhere to the fabric, and I'm doing this on the back side of the fabric. So I'm just pressing it. Your iron should be on like a medium heat. And then once that's done, it's so easy to cut the fabric out because you're actually cutting through paper too. So I'm just going to cut out the shape of the tree, just kind of going along the line here. And remember, you don't want to use your best cloth scissors for this because you are cutting through paper too. So I'm just using some little craft scissors that are sharp enough to do both. Okay, so I can move that aside now. It stays in place while you need it, but then it peels off very easily. Just like that. And save this because you can reuse it a couple of times. All right, so here's the little back side of my tree. I've already cut out a piece of the felt that I'm going to use. That's going to be the next layer, like that, and then I'll put my little decorative pieces on top. I don't need the backing just yet, so I'm going to set that aside. So what I'm going to do is take some of the little ribbons and things, and also some pieces of the fabrics here to decorate the tree with. And I'm just going to put a little glue on like I did before. I just have to decide got some strings there. Just need to decide the order that I'm going to put them in. I think this one looks cute at the bottom, and then maybe this one. And I'm putting these kind of close together because what I'm going to do this time is when I put, like, say a ribbon, when I put a ribbon on, I want to cover up those raw edges of the fabric with the ribbon. So I'm just kind of scooting them close together, just leaving a tiny little area, but not the width of the ribbon. Okay, and then I've got a thicker piece of the green that I'm going to just put along the top here, like that. All right, and then at the bottom, yeah, I had cut another little piece of that same fabric, and I thought I'd use that little snowflakey section there to cover the base of the tree, so I need to cut that down. I'm going to use the glue stick again. And if you guys have some of the Heat and Bond Light, that's fine. That you can iron the pieces in place that way and still stitch through them. So, you know, use what you have. And then here I will go ahead and snip this off. And put a little glue down that one too. I might put a little more glue on this than I typically do, since I'm not going to sew down each one of these pieces all the way around. I mean, you can if you want to. I'm just explaining to you how I'm going to do mine. But I'm just going to go ahead and cover the whole strip lightly. So I'm going to just lay that right at the bottom edge of my tree. Okay. All right. So this one will be next, and I'm going to snip that one off. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I chose to put the green on the top edge because I've got that little red bow that I want to put on the top of my tree, and so I didn't want to put the red pieces up there because I wanted the bow to show up nicely, and I think it will against the green. Okay, let's see. I like this one a lot. So cute. So I'm going to snip that one. I think I'll do that. I'm going to use my heat gun to dry this a little bit. You can also use your iron and just press over the top, and it helps to get that dry. I love this little tree. How fun. As I'm going through and sewing, I can sew on some little trims like these. If you don't want to sew them, you can glue them. But I think these just add a lot of fun. Look how cute. And I was so shocked. I found a little piece of lace. I was looking in my laces and I found a little scrap, and I kid you not, this piece was already this size. It had been trimmed off of a bigger piece of lace, but it is the cutest little thing. It's just got 3 little flowers. It will just fit right across there. Might put a little piece of that up here and then use this. This one's really pretty. It's just very loopy. And it's pretty and gold and shiny, so that separates the 2 gold pieces. That's kind of nice. So I love that. I mean, that's just precious. But I think after I've stitched a little bit on here, then I will decide about how I want to attach those. I may just glue them on top. Then my little bow, which is very sweet with the little shiny bead, is going to sit right on top of the tree like that. I love it. I love it. Now, if you decide to put your little tree on, like on a card or something that you're going to send through the mail, the little bead might be a problem because it's very raised and dimensional. So you may have to do something different. There is a little star sequin in here. It's kind of small, but I think it would possibly be okay. Actually, I think it's kind of cute. I know that's hard for you to see because it's shiny, and it's on silver on gray background. But anyway, I think that's still very cute, and it would look adorable just glued or stitched onto the top of the tree. So you decide, it's up to you. But I really wanted to include that little bow on mine. So I'll do that towards the end. There's also a lot of little beads and sequins, like I mentioned before, and little buttons that you could decorate your tree with. If you decide maybe you don't want to put these trims across, you could actually decorate your tree with some little some of the little bits and bobs, and so you could have like little ornaments and things on, right? If I could pick them up. So there's some little beads and just cute little things. So you guys can just have at it and just be as creative as you want. That's why I put all of these extra little things in here. Look, there's even some teeny tiny, and I mean teeny tiny, teeny tiny little pom-poms. They're little soft pom-poms. So they could also go on there. You could make a little garland of pom-poms across your tree if you wanted to. So it's all about the fun, right? It's all about the fun. So as you can see, I decided to do a little running stitch just all the way around the outside of the triangle portion of the tree. And I think I'll do a different color on the trunk, maybe maybe red, maybe green. Yeah, I might stick with green, kind of the same color that's in the trunk already. All right, so finishing up here. Go. That's sweet. I love that. Very cute. And just the smallest amount of stitching adds so much texture and charm. I just love it. It just looks so handmade and fun. Okay, so I'm just going to catch a little bit of the felt back here to knot my thread without actually making a knot, just making a couple of little stitches so that the thread doesn't go anyplace. And then I just run the needle underneath the felt, in between the felt and the fabric. So you just check the front, make sure you can't see the needle, and if you can't, then you're good. And I'm just going out a little ways to trail the end of the thread and hide it. Okay, and then snipping that off like so. I love that. It's so sweet. Got a little bit of stitching around the bottom. I just did around the 3 sides, on either side and the bottom of the trunk. I think I'm going to stitch on this little piece of lace, and then I'm going to glue these other things. By the way, I used 3 strands to go all the way around the tree and the trunk. I used 3 strands of embroidery floss. And on this lace piece, I'm going to just use a single strand, just because it's really delicate anyway. I don't want it to be heavy there. So just get this started here, same way I tie it off. Whoops, I pulled it too far. Okay, and then just put a little stitch in there, maybe 2. Okay. So all I'm going to do is just lay this piece here. And keep it centered as much as possible. All right. And I think I'm just going to stitch right across the top of it. And I think I'm going to just do the same thing, just a little running stitch. Very easy, very simple. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to just stitch where the flowers are, and that way we won't see the stitching necessarily. I'll just put a couple of stitches in each flower, like that. And then I'll move over to the next flower. Right, so I'm going to just kind of run this under my felt, come up near the other flower. It turns out that there's 2 little petals at the top edge here. So we'll put a stitch in that petal and stitch in the petal next to it. I'm just doing a tiny little stitch right down through the petal at the top of the petal there. Okay, getting a little crooked. Let's see if we can keep it straight. All right, I'm going to run my needle under again. You don't have to do the needle running it so close, but it keeps you from having threads on the back that can catch on things while you're working. So it's kind of helpful to hide those when you can. Okay, just a little stitch there. And a little stitch here. This one's right on the edge here. Okay. All right, well, it's a little bit crooked, of course, because I did it. Let's see. Maybe now that I've got it a little bit straighter, I can put one more stitch here in the next petal to kind of hold it down there. Okay, that looks better. Oh, it's very sweet. I hope it won't unravel too much on the edge there when I snip this off, but I do want to snip it. Oh, how cute. Oh, that's very sweet. I love it. I'm just going to use my Fabri-Tac and put a tiny bit of this where I want the trim to go. Let's see, how far down will my bow go? Let's see. I put that there, then I still see that if it were up there. Okay, so I'm going to put it along the top of the ribbon here. I want to put a little bit of this across. Anyway, I was saying I like to use this because it dries so quickly. And so it holds in place whatever you're doing, it holds it in place immediately. Well, not immediately, but within a few seconds it's dry. So a minute, give it a minute. Okay. That is so cute with the gold on it. Oh, I love that. Perfect for a little tree. Okay, and then let's do that down here where the green rickrack is going to go across the center. And you may have some trims of your own, you know, that aren't in the kit that you can use as well, or little beads or whatever. You can stitch on some little beads, and that would be a lot of fun. Use what you have. Okay, while I'm gluing, I'm going to go ahead and glue the bow on top too. Where'd the bow go? Oh, there it is. Just going to hold it in place for a second to let that glue set. All right, now I'm going to snip each one of these off. Oh, I love this, you guys. Look how sweet that is. And you know what I realized just now? I was going to put this on the back before I stitched around the edge. But it's okay. It isn't necessary. It's not a requirement. And also, if you're going to put this on a card, nobody will see the back of this. So don't do what I did and forget if you intend to put a backing piece on there. Yeah, I meant to do that before I stitched around. So that would have looked like this on the back. So I'll just save that for another little tree. I decided I want to make one of the little beanies also. And I was tracing the cap, little beanie cap, onto my felt. And I wanted to show you guys that I'm going to actually put the little pom-pom on top of my beanie. Not the tiny one. This bigger one. I'm going to put that on my beanie once I make it. And I actually drew in a little circle on the beanie. It's very light, just to show you that something else can go there. If you decide not to put a pom-pom on top, or you want to do something different, then you would just go ahead and cut out the top, just round it right off like that. and cut out right around the top. I did the same thing here in case you wanted to add a different piece of something for your trunk, kind of like I did. I did that here on the star as well in case you wanted to do like maybe different colors for each of the points of the star. You'd have a line there showing you where to, what size to make your little triangles. I'm not going to be making the star today, but if I were going to make it, I would probably number these pieces so that I know where they go, when it's time to put it together. I would know where my pieces go, and then, when you trace this out like on your freezer paper, you can mark the freezer paper, whatever number you wrote here, you can write it on your freezer paper, and that'll help you keep track. And then you could do like a different color even in the center. So I just wanted to point that out. And also, when I was tracing it, I decided to cut the fabric. I'm going to use, I think, the red again, this one. Take this freezer paper off of here. I'm probably going to use this red to do my beanie cap. And I thought I probably would like it to come down just a little bit longer, because I'm going to do this piece, the little band that folds up, I'm going to do that in a piece of the white felt. And so I'll be able to cover up that red bit that comes down, but it'll be able to, just a place to tuck it under. So that's why I did this way, and you don't have to do it that way. If you don't find that helpful, then you can do it whichever way is easiest for you. This pattern is just to give you a starting place, So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm also cutting the round part where I drew the little ball for the pom-pom to go, so that there's a place to glue it at the end. When we get ready to put that on, there'll be a place to attach it above the top of the hat. All right, so we got this one cut out. So that's our base. That's what we'll be putting our fabric onto. I'm going to trace this again. I don't know if I want to do that part red up there. I probably won't do that part. So at this point is where I'll be drawing across. If I put red up there, you might see it underneath this from some angles or whatever. So I think just to keep it white, I'll glue it just to the felt. All right, so I am going to draw a little bit past again, because you can see as I'm going down into this area that's going to be white. Just enough, just a little bit. And it doesn't matter if that's straight or not. It's just a place to tuck it underneath the part that's going to be white. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for our red piece. And the marker won't bleed through on this because it's got the plastic layer on the back. That's kind of cool. Okay, wrong side of the fabric. Okay. And I'm just ironing it on. I just love this little trick. It is so handy. So if you don't have freezer paper in your stash, it's probably a good idea to get some at the grocery store, because one roll of it will last forever. It's very wide, so you'll be able to use it for a lot of crafts for a lot of years. It's really handy. Okay, I think that's good. And if you find that you cut your felt just a little differently than you cut your fabric and it's a little bit bigger, you can trim it down. And I'm going to like I said, do the felt for the brim of the hat. And I thought this might be big enough to do a double width of that, but I don't know if it is. I think it's not quite big enough. So I will just cut 2 pieces. I'll cut one and then I'll trace one and then I will cut around 2 pieces. So all I'm doing is using the disappearing ink marker to just trace. I think what I will do is take another piece of the felt and I'm going to just kind of glue 2 together. Okay. And then I can cut out 2 at the same time and they'll be the same shape, which is what I want. So I'm going to put that on the brim of my hat. That's so cute. And then there will be a little, I keep picking up those tiny little pom-poms. There we go. That's going to be so cute. I already love it and I don't even have any stitching on it yet. All right. So I think I'm going to do the same thing and just do a little running stitch around. This time I'm going to use red thread where there's red fabric, and I'll use white where there's white, and do it that way. So it's a new day, and I took my little beanie to the couch with me last night, and I sat and stitched on the red portion of the beanie. And all I did was, I'm going to show you on this little piece here, all I did was stitch some running stitches. I did it around the edge here, and then around the edge here, and then I made 2 more lines of running stitches kind of in the center like this, and you want to keep them going at a curve. I mean, that's probably a little too far curved, so that it looks like the contours of the hat. There we go. All right. So you can see how, I think you can see how, you can see how that looks more like there are contours and dimension in the hat. And then inside those sections, there's 3 sections here. I just stitched some little V's just to represent like knitted stitches. And they're not exact or anything like that. It's just a little nod to a knitted cap, all right? And so I've got a couple left to finish here. I'm gonna do 2 more here. And I basically did the center section. No, actually I did this section first. I did this section, and then when I came over here, I just kind of kept the little V's lined up with one another across. So I'm just lining this one up here, so I'll have this one to do, and then one more. And it's just fun. It's just a fun little idea to make it kind of look knitted. So you, of course, can stitch your little hat any way you want. But I just wanted to share what I was doing on mine to give you an idea. If you didn't happen to have any, then you could see, you know, what I've done and how fun it is. All right. This last little bit here. And make the V. There we go. Kind of hard to see that red on red, and I realize that, but it's very cute. In person, it's really cute. So that's where we are now. I love it. I'm really excited about it. I've never made one of these before. So all of this is just coming off the top of my head. So now I want to take some white thread and work on the little brim piece. I think I'm going to just make some straight stitches and do this all the way down, just to make it look kind of ribbed. I don't know if it's going to work for sure. I think it might, but we're going to find out together. It's so cute. I just think it gives it a little bit of texture and makes it look a little bit like a ribbed cap. So I'm going to just put a little glue along the edge of the bottom of the hat, or the bottom of the red bit. So you got some of it hanging out at the bottom. So cute. I love it. Before I put the little pom-pom on the top here, I'm going to take a little piece of, it's just a little piece of baker's twine. It's white with a gold piece wrapped around, and I'm going to use the same glue right in the center area of the little spot where we're going to glue the pom-pom. And I'm going to just fold over the twine here and just stick it to the glue. So that's going to give us a little loop. Hang it on your tree or hang it wherever you want. And then I'm going to just cover this area and a tiny bit of the red, just a little bit of that too, with the glue. And I'm putting a good amount so that the fuzzy pom-pom will have a place to actually stick. Whoops, throwing it around. Okay. Now you guys might remember I showed you earlier that I had put an ornament hook in the little kit. And the reason I did that, and I also included some beads, is because I wanted to string a few little beads on the hook. I think it's so cute. It was just an idea of something that you might want to try. I did put a little dot of the Fabri-Tac at the top and bottom here so that the beads wouldn't move. So then I'm going to just loop that in there and close up that bottom part of the hook a little bit. There we go. Look how cute that is. I love it. I hope you guys can see the stitches. It's hard for me to see it on camera right now, but I hope you can see that. It's really, really fun. All right, so now we have two little Christmas ornaments made. They can also be put in a journal or put on a card or whatever you want to do. I'm going to take another piece of that same baker's twine and put it on the back of this little tree. I meant to do that underneath the bow, but I forgot, so I'm just going to stick it on the back. And I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on top of the threads too, just to hold them down good, and let that dry. Without touching it, I'm going to let that dry like that. So while that's drying, I want to show you one other one that I did make a few days ago. And I didn't do it for Christmas. I did the little heart shape here. And I used some fabrics that I just had laying around here, because some of these things like the heart and the star, I mean, you could use that any time of year, right? So I made a little heart with some fabrics I had here, and I just think it turned out so sweet. And what I did was the same method. I traced the heart onto the freezer paper, and then I laid some scraps onto the back side and pressed them in place. And then I cut out the heart, and that left me with the little patchwork design on my heart. And then I added a little bit of stitching. You can see some of the little stitches there throughout. These are little cross stitches and some little seed stitches in this green section here. And I don't know what you call this one, but I was just covering up the seams with my little stitches. There's another little running stitch in white running above those cross stitches there. And then I did a blanket stitch all the way around the outside. And you can find the different stitches on YouTube. There's plenty of videos that shows how to do all those stitches. And then I just took a scrap. I actually put this fabric on the back, and I took a little scrap of that same fabric and I folded it over and covered up the raw edges, and then I just hand stitched along one edge there to hold it together, and then I just folded it and tucked it in before I did the stitching around to stitch the two pieces together. So it's not perfect, but it's not intended to be. So I'm okay with that, you know. I just thought that was a real sweet little patchworky heart made of different fabrics, and I just had a lot of fun with it. I found some fabrics at a yard sale, and that's where these came from. This one I already had, but these I found at a yard sale, and I was just tickled to find them. So anyway, that's a third ornament that I made, and it can also go on a card or on a journal or in a journal, just like the other things can. So there we go, guys. Just some fun little things to stitch and play with. I hope you guys have as much fun as I've had. And I will go ahead and sign off now. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.